Living in a Double World. My name is Ana Maria Quevedo.
And I'm Felipe Quevedo.
There is a starting point when looking into buying a house.
Starts with a lender.
In order to have a house, I like them to have 2 to 3 months reserves. I want to make sure they have the down payment. I make sure they have a good job for 2 years, both husband and wife, and make sure that they're stable, that they're not behind and they're not overly extended, and take a look at what they're spending. Because literally most everybody works, so they eat out every day, and it's $9, $10, gone are the days for $5 luncheons. And then you have dinner, and most families eat out. So by the time you come back, at the end of the month, there's nothing left in your paycheck. And you're again late on your car payment. And you're again late on your rent payment. And so what happens is people never get caught up. And it's just a vicious cycle. And then when they come to me, I want to take a baseball bat into their head. But I want to wear a t-shirt to say, please pay your bills on time. I'm going to talk a little bit about a credit history, because what happens is the whole home loan system is based on a credit score. And a credit score is nothing but your ability to pay bills on time. It means that if I have a car loan that I got 2 years ago, and I have, let's say, JCPenney credit card, and let's say I have a Cons, where I bought a TV or a computer or whatever, I have 3 trade lines. Those are called trade lines. If I am paying on 3 trade lines on time for the last 2 years, I will have a 640 credit score higher. But obviously life happens. So if I have student loans that I got and I didn't pay on them, and I have paid child support and I let it go. Banks are very, very particular. They must have student loans on time. They must have their child support on time, and they cannot have a judgment. A lot of us get credit cards and when we were young, and then something happens to us. We don't have a job, so we let them go. So what happens is we owe $400 to Capital One. But guess what? Today on my credit report, it'll say I owe $4,000, because that creditor has sold it to another collection company, who sold it to another collection company. So even though you only owed $400, the interest is accruing on it every day, like a big fur ball. It's just growing bigger. It'll never really go away. 7 years, it'll fall off that you owe Capital One, but it'll still say you owe RGM collection and XYG Affinity collection and so forth. It'll now be $4,000. It's that same debt. Some people have a myth in their head that in 7 years it'll fall off. Well, it never really falls off because it's tied to your social security number. Okay, so it's very, very important to pay your bills in time. I have people that don't pay $20 to Hollywood Video. I have people that I see don't pay their CPS and water. And I'm like, we, the mortgage bank, look at that and say, Mr. Smith cannot pay a $200 CPS bill and a $20 Hollywood Video bill and a $30 telephone bill or a Cons or CPS. How are we going to give them a home loan? So it is actually for their own good. The credit score is nothing but your ability to pay bills in time. We look at their buying habits, we look at their paying habits, and look at, have they got 5 credit cards with $5,000 limits? If they're open, they're not maxed out, but we still think they can get themselves into $5, $10, $15, $20, $25,000 of credit card debt. So if someone's here on H-1B visas, basically they have a social security card that says that they're allowed to work in the U.S. So they might be a surgeon, they might be here from Peru or South America. I had a doctor from South America that was here in a 7-year training to be a surgeon, and he's going to go back, but he's allowed to work in the U.S. So UTSA has an offer letter, pays him a salary. He's been here for 2 years, and so basically if he's got H-1B visas and work visas, he's able to work in the U.S. If he's able to work in the U.S., he now has a social security number, and thus he's able to apply for a home loan. And most of the immigrants, we don't have to convince them, Anna, as far as, hey, you have to buy a house. They know they want a house. And when I lived in India, they were crazy. They were like, what? U.S. has a 30-year mortgage? Oh my God. In U.S. we had a 30 and a 40-year mortgage, but these guys just want a 15-year or 10-year mortgage. They want to put 20% down. So a lot of our immigrants have already been saving for a house. So sometimes they'll even pay cash for a house. So they're very, very, that's the first thing that they want to have is a house for their home. And I help them with that. And I think it's important for them to do that, because that's that much money that they're not wasting on renting an apartment or a house that they might be renting. But a lot of them don't know that they can buy a house.
We wish you blessings and guidance to all.
Till next time.